Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, a former cabinet minister urges government to give land to Bahamians. Government to place limits on work permits for certain jobs. Remembering the late Charles W. Saunders, plus planning the perfect Valentine's Day. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, opposition Senator Darren Henfield is calling for more land to be given to Bahamians. While Henfield says government can't build homes for all Bahamians, he says there is enough land to go around.
The acquisition of land by Bahamians remains far too challenging in a country such as ours, which is possessed of more than enough land to grant Bahamians at birth. The way you hear people talk about it in the Arab countries, those that are rich with oil and wealth, at birth some countries pass on that patrimony to their children. And there's no reason why, as particularly in the Family Islands, this may sound far-fetched to many of you, there's no reason why Bahamians ought not be given land.
Minister of Housing JoBeth Colby Davis pledged to build more homes than former Housing Minister Shane Gibson, who built around 1,600 homes for Bahamians. Henfield, a former MP for North Abaco, says on his home island there's an abundance of land.
When I look across Abaco when I drive the long pine fields, and I wonder why it's so difficult for young Bahamians who are just starting out, I mean, even to encourage farming. That's another thing you look at through BIIC, BAMSI, right? To encourage farming in our country. And so, Madam President, the move of this resolution and the other place indicated, among other things, that land reform has long been a thorny issue and a vexing issue in our country. And we've heard the previous speakers allude to that.
The former cabinet minister adds one of the main factors prohibiting Bahamians from accessing land is the high cost.
Nothing infuriates Bahamians more than the apparent inability for them to access land in this country. You know, land is very expensive, particularly here in New Providence. And even in Abaco, I find that the cost of land is quite prohibitive. And then there's the further added frustration of this inability to acquire Crown land. That must change in our country.
As the economy rebounds, Labor and Immigration Minister Keith Bell says the Davis administration is determined to get Bahamians back to work. He added a part of that strategy is limiting the approval of work permits for positions that Bahamians are qualified to fill.
Any number of areas. First of all, you have obviously the tourist sector. As we're now opening up for business, you now see a lot of tourists returning to the country. So all of those businesses associated with tourists. But then, of course, you would know that we are high on our agenda is agriculture. We have to move towards food security in our country. We have to move towards housing and health. We're moving, the Minister of Housing made some very strong commitments to the country that we're going to be building subdivisions. And so all of these different things we're going to be creating.
It's a policy previously touted by the former Minnis administration, but Bell insists the Davis administration is even more determined.
As a matter of fact, I think we've even gone further, where the Honorable Prime Minister merged the Department of Labor, the Ministry of Labor, with Immigration. So if the Labor Department issues certificates, then certainly, or denies them, then it can't be where the Department of Labor, Department of Immigration is issuing work permits. So the two departments go hand in hand.
Well, a newly appointed opposition senator is questioning whether legislators will criminalize marital rape during the current term. Senator Michaela Ellis posed the question as senators debated a resolution earlier today.
In 2022, I hope, I pray, that we shall see shortly whether our legislators are still of the belief that a person can have intercourse with his spouse without their consent. Are we ready for change?
The topic of marital rape emerged early on for the Davis administration. The Prime Minister, Philip Davis, called marital rape wrong after he came under pressure for saying the topic wasn't a priority for his administration. Last week, State Minister for Social Services Lisa Ramming suggested the Davis administration would criminalize marital rape. However, Substantive Minister Obi Wilchcombe declined to express a view on the controversial issue. Well, as COVID-19 cases decrease, Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez says he believes the government needs to take a closer look at relaxing restrictions on churches. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Christian Council President weighing in on those lowered COVID-19 numbers as well as the continued restrictions, saying while it's up to the government to ultimately make the decision, he believes it's time for the churches to see those restrictions lowered.
We have been in communication with the same. We're only waiting for that response, and I believe that the state is minded. I don't want to speak for them, but I believe by the end of this week we should hear something, if not from me, but from the Minister of Health and his department. Because of the positive change, we could now move away from the 25%.
In December and for much of January, the Bahamas experienced the worst wave of the pandemic, with hundreds of cases being reported a day. In response to the rapid rise in cases, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced a series of new measures to mitigate the spread of the virus. Churches were again under strict restrictions that included limiting services to 1 hour and only allowing 25% occupancy.
Churches provide an essential role in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The programs that are now being asked of the church requires more capacity to be made available. And if those capacities can be available safely, not only for worship, but us to do the social intervention that we do, we're going to need churches to be those kind of places where we could have people come in to receive what they're used to receiving in terms of social assistance.
When it comes to removing restrictions for indoor funerals and weddings, which are both limited to 33% occupancy, Fernandez said this.
Well, we are going to work through that. I think what we would like to see is maybe a few months. I think is maybe 2 months is the number you look for the hour to be reduced. And if it's holding for 2 months, in January we were considering another number and removing some restrictions. I think we can honestly come to the table and negotiate that again if the rate stays the same for another 2 months.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
A $7,000 per month contract for a device to track individuals who were supposed to be in quarantine but never was used is set to expire next month. National Security Minister Wayne Munro says officials haven't decided whether to renew that contract.
That would be determined when they tell me the use of it after the protocols are settled, and ultimately that'll be a matter for the Ministry of Health if they wish to continue it.
Back in November, Munro said he was not sure why the previous government did not use the product, which is contracted through his ministry. He said 100 units of the product are in country, adding Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville was keen on using it. Munro said the government expects to roll out the units it has shortly.
We settled the protocols for use by it. It's to be triggered by the Ministry of Health.
Cloudy conditions ahead. Meteorologist Greg Thompson has a look at tonight's weather forecast. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Christine, and a happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Cloudy conditions outside our studios right now. Temperatures hanging out in the low 70s. We do have a couple of isolated showers out there in the vicinity. Your west-northwest winds at 6 miles per hour, and your field-like temperature in the low 70s. Satellite view, frontal boundary across the northwest Bahamas, surface trough hanging out across the central Bahamas. Showers and thunderstorms associated with both features will continue to affect the northwest and central Bahamas, as that frontal boundary is expected to stall across the central Bahamas by tomorrow. So looking for some cloudy conditions and some showers through tonight and into tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, why the new U.S. Embassy won't meet its initial completion date, and a new private school offering a $250,000 scholarships.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Senators debating a resolution for the government's acquisition of Paris Court on the property of the current Marriott Hotel. The acquisition is in support of the approved sale of the Marriott Hotel to a new company.
This resolution addresses the acquisition of what was once a public right-of-way or road on the property of the current Marriott Hotel that comprises 27 feet wide by 262 feet strip running westward from the west side of Nassau Street, approximately 225 feet to the south of West Bay Street.
The transaction has been delayed several times due to title issues with the property. Attorney General Ryan Pinder moved the resolution and had the support of both government and opposition senators. He added that the deal was approved by the previous government.
The closing date for this transaction has continuously been pushed back until this matter is completed and is now scheduled for February 22nd, 2022, just in a mere couple of weeks. So I want to thank Madam President and all of my colleagues around the table for entertaining this resolution as a matter of urgency.
In other news, the United States Embassy running behind schedule on the completion of its multi-million-dollar compound. The project director attributing the delays to COVID-19. Sharika Johnson has that.
U.S. Embassy's new headquarters, which was expected to be completed early next year, will be delayed another 6 to 7 months due to shutdowns because of COVID-19 spread in the workforce. Project Director Stephen Ziegenfuss.
We are running a little bit behind schedule. The contract was due to complete in April of next year. We're looking at a completion September, October of next year. And the reason for that is, of course, is COVID. We had a shutdown. This past shutdown was not as bad as previous shutdowns.
Ziegenfuss says nearly 95% of its workforce is vaccinated, which helped with milder symptoms among workers who recovered quickly. The $310 million project, which now employs about 85 Bahamian construction workers, has experienced other hiccups as well.
We've had some delay, mostly in some of the components for some of the mechanical systems. They have not been significant delays. And one of the reasons for this is our construction contractor, Cadell International, is a very large international construction company that probably right now, just for the Department of State, has, I'd estimate, about $10 billion worth of construction. So as a customer to these companies, they're a very big company, a very big customer. So they try to keep their big customers very happy.
Ziegenfuss promises that once the embassy is completed, it will help to revitalize Bay Street, drawing people and new businesses to the area.
When U.S. embassies get built, other buildings get renovated or built around the U.S. Embassy. So where we are on the corner of East and Shirley, for example, there's not a lot of restaurants. I expect restaurants to start popping up. Across East Street to the west of us, the Central Bank project is going to start soon. So those are two big projects.
The new compound will comprise recharge wells as part of its green initiative to be used again for drinking water. The compound will be completed by September or October of next year. For our news, I'm Sharika Johnson.
A new school is preparing to open its doors this fall. King's College will offer $250,000 in scholarships each year. Bethany McDermott reports.
Aimed at providing global opportunities to Bahamian students, the Inspired Group of Schools is establishing a new school in New Providence. Inspired Group President Graham Crawford explains why they chose to introduce King's College to the Bahamas.
Our founder has a very strong connection to the Bahamas. His wife is from the Bahamas, and we have opened up these amazing premium schools around the world, 22 different countries across the globe, 5 continents, and all of our schools are international best practice. All of them compete with the best of the world.
The Inspired Group has more than 70 schools on 5 continents with over 50,000 students. The co-educational, non-denominational independent school group was designed to inspire students to achieve their maximum potential. To attract local students, substantial scholarships are available along with the opportunity for exchange programs.
We have $250,000 per year allocated for scholarships, and that will be to look after children in the school, but also to support them to go to any of our schools around the world.
The school is slated to take on 80 students in August 2022. Once the main campus is completed in 2023, it will then be able to accept 400 students.
We'll be offering from reception through to year 8, and then we move across to our main campus. We'll be growing every year 9 through to year 13. The strongest combination, we believe, is combining the Cambridge RGCSE curriculum with the last 2 years of the International Baccalaureate, the diploma program. So we'll run the Cambridge curriculum up to grade 11, year 11, write the RGCSE exams, and then from there, that is the best preparation to finish off with the IB diploma.
The wife of the Inspired Group founder, Simone Nasuli, who is Bahamian, explained the impact she believes this will have locally.
I was very fortunate that I was able to go away to school, but the reason I went away to school was to have a broader educational opportunity and a richer educational experience. And now, with the arrival of this school here on the island and this project of King's College School now here on the island, I'm really proud and really happy that we will have an opportunity like this for children here on the island. People will not have to leave this island to have a world-class education.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bertha.
When Our News returns, church and political leaders pay tribute to Charles W. Saunders, and the sun scorched the competition. The details when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. The late Dr. Charles W. Saunders, the 4th superintendent of the Bahamas Baptist Union of Churches, was remembered by fellow religious leaders as an inspirational leader. Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernander and Senior Pastor of Kemp Road Ministries, Reverend Dr. Ivan Butler Jr., say Saunders played a pivotal role in many people's lives.
Saunders has a tremendous legacy. Many of the pastors that are serving today, he was the one that installed and inducted them as pastors of the church, including myself. And what he has given us in generation of prepared students and leadership and lifting the bar.
Saunders, who was the president of the National Baptist Convention from 1981 to 1997, founded Bahamas Baptist College in 1988, along with Dr. William Thompson, through the National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention. The school was renamed in his honor years later. Saunders passed away on January 28th at age 91. Shifting gears now, love is in the air this month as couples and galentines celebrate Valentine's Day on Monday. Whether you're in a relationship or not, a local event planner has a few ideas on how you can celebrate the Day of Love safely. Megan Shepard takes a look.
Valentine's Day is usually filled with flowers, candy, and dinner dates. But with the ongoing pandemic and restaurant restrictions in place, one event planner is sharing her advice on making date night in just as special. Proprietor of Minding Your Business, Davina Rutherford, says couples just have to be creative.
You can have dinner in. Several people have menus that you can call and they deliver to you. You have a cute little setup. There are several decorators that can come and either you can DIY it, you rent the items, they give it to you, or they set it up for you and you can just make it cute intimate, amazing. Just because you're not going out doesn't mean it can't be special.
Rutherford says that spending the night at home gives couples the opportunity to get to know each other more intimately. She shares her suggestions on making the night special.
I'm very big on the little things and I'm big on details. Find out what your partner likes and do those little hints of my favorite things. It could be throughout the day, it could be at work, it could be once they get home. You can do a scavenger hunt, have them go throughout the house to find gifts that are very significant, but very, not expensive.
Growing in popularity is something called Valentines, where single friends get together and celebrate love. Rutherford says the day is all about love, relationship or not.
Get some wine, some cheese, and just have a girls' night in. You can play like Pictionary, and everything can be love themed. You can do taboo, you can do movie trivia, Are You Faster Than Shazam? You can get very creative with it, and everything can be Valentine's theme, friend theme, and just have fun. Don't let the pressure of the day get to you.
And despite the changes in the world around us because of COVID-19, Rutherford says the love should remain. Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
DeAndre and the Suns continue their winning ways. Meanwhile, a major high school hoops tournament headed to the Bahamas. Marcellus Hall has the details tonight in sports.
All right, thanks, Christina, and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns have been one of those feel-good stories in the league this year. The top-name teams like Brooklyn and the Lakers all coming in highly projected to be NBA finalists. Suns very quietly have now commandeered the best record in the league. Looking to build on that last night. Let's see how they did. DeAndre Ayton, he and his Phoenix Suns on the road last night, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Tough matchup on paper. These two teams very well matched. DeAndre going up against potential MVP candidate Joel Embiid in this game. The Suns, though, would prevail. They get the win here, 114-109 ends up being your final score. If you're wondering about DeAndre's performance, 30 minutes on the floor. He finished up with 10 points, 6 rebounds during the course of the game. He also had a steal and a block to go along with 2 turnovers. Bottom line is the Suns do get the win, and they improved their record once again, 44-10. They're first in the Western Conference, best record overall in the league. And right now, sitting pretty as far as that's concerned, heading into the All-Star break. Their next game comes your way on Thursday. They'll take on the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks at that time. And speaking of basketball news, Hoop Fest in Paradise. That's coming your way. It's a major high school basketball tournament featuring some of the top high school basketball players in the entire USA. In fact, a number of the players that have played in this tournament have gone on to play at the NBA level. Organizer Jeff Rogers talks about how the endeavor came about.
The tournament is going to be December the 16th and 17th, and they're going to bring 4 of the top teams with all of the top high school players in America. It's the biggest one, and some of the biggest names in the NBA came from this tournament. We're planning a number of activities and tours to set up, for the teams, for the fans. So it's going to be exciting. The minister, he's really excited about it. He wastes no time to commit the ministry to get involved in this tournament. It's going to be a lot of exposure. A number of scouts going to be here. And so we are just excited about it, and I'm looking forward being a part of this, and I'm quite sure it's going to leave a positive impact in our country.
And that's a look at your sports here on this Wednesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. Still ahead, what will Super Bowl Sunday look like? Greg has the answer right after this.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Could weekend showers rain on Super Bowl Sunday? Greg has our extended forecast.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. Frontal boundary across the northwest Bahamas, as well as the surface trough in the Central Islands, generating cloudy conditions, as well as some showers and thunderstorms. We expect both of those systems to stall across the Central Bahamas through tomorrow and continue to provide some cloudy conditions, as well as more showers in the forecast. Remnants of both of these systems will eventually drift back towards the north through the remainder of the week, actually, and by the weekend we expect a high pressure system to be building in across our area from the Gulf of Mexico, bringing us some cooler conditions before another frontal boundary gets in here by the beginning of next week. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas through tonight and into tomorrow. Your winds will start off northwesterly to north, but shifting tomorrow, becoming north to northeast at 50 knots. Seas running 3 to 5 feet over the ocean. Your low tide will be at 8:23 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, caution flag still in place for you guys down there, but your winds more southeast to south at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Wednesday. A few more showers expected in our forecast for the next couple of days. Make it a great night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.